With Mam Winnie's memorial service being held today, I guess the reality that she is really gone is starting to sink in.
Well, certainly, Simpiwe, that is the case. Of course, for many of us, having been in a state of disbelief after the passing of the late struggle icon last week, Monday. And of course, very quiet here outside her home at this stage. But of course, we understand it's still early hours. And of course, in the next few hours, we're expecting people to start to wake up and to start preparing for that memorial service, which will be held here in Soweto today. And of course, it's a big day in terms of the mourning of this woman, the giant of the struggle, so-called the mother of the nation. And of course, we're expecting that many mourners will gather here outside the house before making their way to the Orlando Stadium, where that memorial service will be held later today. But of course, more than that, Simpiwe, it's a day of mourning. It's a day of celebrating this struggle icon. It's a day where we as South Africans are being called to celebrate the life of Umama Winnie Madikizela-Mandela and to really reflect on the legacy that she leaves behind. Of course, we know the incredible work that she has done, the selfless work that she did in order to gain us the freedom that we have. And of course, many will be remembering that work and that dedication that she gave her life to in order to ensure that many of us enjoy the democracy that we have today. And of course, Simpiwe, today, as we speak, the streets outside the home of Umama, if you go a bit further on the main street, already a hive of activity, but not only for people who are going to work at this point, but because many of the streets here have been cordoned off, they have been closed. You remember that the Interministerial Committee did mention that some of the streets will be affected, and of course they will be closed to traffic to allow for those who wish to go to the Orlando Stadium to be able to do so freely. And of course, park and ride services having been also organized for those who wish to come to the memorial. They will be ferried from the FNB Stadium, where those facilities have been set up, and of course they'll be brought to the Orlando Stadium. And of course, later on, we're expecting the family of the Madikizela-Mandela to also join in. Over 60,000 people were expected to come and pay tribute to Mama at the stadium. Of course, over the past few days, we've seen an outpouring of love outside the home of Umama, people coming in their numbers to come and pay tribute, to come and pray with the family, to come and offer them some condolences, some of them putting flowers here behind me, and also signing that condolences book that has been set up for them in order to be able to pay their respects to Umama. And of course, we expect to see more of them coming later on before that memorial kicks off at 11 o'clock. But of course, many of them paying tribute, former presidents coming, including former President Jacob Zuma, former President Thabo Mbeki, as well as the President of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, who have all described Umama as an icon, a leader, a revolutionary giant, and saying that she was a voice of the voiceless. And in the midst of repression, she was a voice of defiance and resistance. And of course, we're expecting to hear more of those sentiments as that memorial service, the national official memorial service, kicks off at the Orlando Stadium at 11 o'clock this morning.
All right, Manqoba, thank you so much for our update. We'll certainly be in touch with you a little later on in the show. Our reporter, Manqoba Mchunu, outside the home of Mam Winnie Madikizela-Mandela's home.